let's look at what happens to a plastic cable clip in the event of a fire.
I think it's any excuse to get that lighter out again, I think.
So we can see it's melting away pretty quickly. So what's going to happen to the cable as that melts, Gary?
Okay, so obviously the fixing's going to give way, the cable's going to fall away from the structure, and there'll be a risk of entanglement for people exiting the building, as well as those people maybe entering the building to rescue people as well.
Yeah, so now it's recommended we use a metal-based clip to ensure that the cable cannot drop away from the structure in the event of a fire and cause entanglement.
And I've chosen the D-line clip here. It's a cable grip clip, fully metallic, and we'll see what happens obviously under the same conditions we gave that previous plastic one.
That's cable's melting away, but the fixing isn't going anywhere. It suggests that's going to hang around until the wood itself goes.
Yeah, look at that fixing. It is holding that cable in place, therefore preventing the cable coming away from the structure, therefore preventing it being a possible entanglement for people exiting or entering the building. I think that clearly demonstrated how the plastic clip's going to be affected by a fire and how the metallic clip held the cable system in place. And it's really important, isn't it, Gordon?
Yeah, it is. And that was just as this, okay, it's a substantial lighter, but it's nothing like the heat that you get in an actual fire. If you don't believe that, check out some of the tests that they do on fire-rated ceilings when it comes to downlights to get that 30, 60 or 90-minute rating. But on the 30-minute test, by the time 30 minutes is up, the ceiling's gone and the floor structure's gone. So we're on about that temporary support to enable people to safely exit the building, or firefighters to enter the building to rescue someone in those crucial early stages of a fire and not get entangled, Gary, isn't it?
Yeah, and absolutely. And it's covered in the wiring regulations. So you're going to just do a little bit of Joe Robinson for me. You're going to read from the regulations for us.
From the blue book. So it's covered under, and it is one regulation that this mops this up, 521.10.202. I'm sure you know it by heart, but wiring systems shall be supported such that it will not be liable to premature collapse in the event of a fire. And when we're looking at cable clips like this, we look at note 4. Suitably spaced steel or copper clips, saddles or ties are examples that will meet the requirements of this regulation.
Okay, so there's lots of things in there, but there's lots of things missing, and this is where we always want your comments below. There is no guidance on the frequency of supports, whether they be for the surface wiring system, maybe for conduit, maybe inside a trunking, in order to prevent this premature collapsing, is there?
Yeah, which is again where it falls back down to the electrician again. What the regulations leaves a grey area for us to figure out. It always comes down to that engineering judgment. So you've done a practical example, Gary, haven't you?
Yeah, so let's see that, and and we can talk about that afterwards. So this is what we've got: a standard arrangement, surface wiring there on a joist, clip with our plastic clips. So
see that a lot, people's garages, places like that.
Yeah, you do. Okay, so exposed beams, etc. All I've done now is taken out those clips. Okay, so we can see what would happen in the event of those
the cables falling down. Yeah, and that could entangle somebody.
But I'm not going to replace all the clips. Okay, I'm just going to put them where I think logically, from an engineering judgment, that would be probably the best place to clip them. So I've got one at each end. I'm going to do here.
Okay.
So one in there, and then.
So you're going to assume that when you remove those plastic clips, it's not going to sag and create that hazard.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's the sort of thinking behind it. So these are proper clips. So in they go. So I'm just going to pop out the other ones now. So if I take these clips out, we'll see what the scenario looks like.
So you're simulating in the event of a fire. These have melted, and the cable's about to drop down.
Well, is it? Let's see.
Well, there we go.
Yeah. So it's held up above the area there where obviously there is a chance that we could walk into that area. Okay, so that cable is now held in place. Obviously the clips can be used on block and brick, so in here I'm going to actually nail straight into the block itself, but I could nail into the mortar if I wanted to, say if it was a brick surface, and they are really well held in place. So yeah, just take a look at that. That's my 2.5 held in place rather than my lighting circuit you just saw.
Great finish.
Hopefully I clearly demonstrated there when I took out the clips. So I was suggesting at that stage that obviously the melted, that these D-line grip clips that I'd positioned kept the wiring system above the area where that door was, where people may be exiting. But it isn't just in exiting areas anymore, is it, Gordon?
No, so it's all surface wiring, because obviously the route that a firefighter takes, possibly to enter the building to rescue somebody, you can't necessarily think what that would be and plan accordingly. So that's why it covers all surface wiring. Obviously, Once it's above, behind fire barriers such as plasterboard, okay, different rules apply, but some people are going the extra mile, Gary, aren't
Yeah,
they?
we're seeing it on Instagram that people are actually saying to us, and they've shown us pictures of it, is where they've, before the obviously plasterboard's gone in on new builds, have actually still inserted these metallic clips because they believe that in the event of the ceiling coming down maybe earlier than expected, that their wiring system will stay in place. Remember, BS 7671 is the minimum requirement, the minimum standards we need to meet, and we'd really be interested in your thoughts if you're the type of person that is installing these clips above plasterboard ceilings. So leave those comments below, that'd be really handy for us, wouldn't it? Now, again, it's not just where cables are falling maybe freely into an area that can cause, you know, issues for, say, firefighters, is it, Gordon?
No, because obviously everyone thinks, exit routes, and you think you head straight to the door, but in the event of a fire, obviously smoke-filled rooms, firefighters will often feel their way around the edge of a room and use their feet as well. So you've got to think about cables that would end up at a low level. Okay, dado trunking is the main problem with that, and D-Line have some separate clips to deal with trunking. But if you've got a wiring system that's liable to collapse against a wall, don't think you're out of the way by doing that, because that can cause entanglement.
Yeah.
It may not in the normal world without a fire.
Okay, and also, again, engineering judgment, we're in a very high ceilinged area here. If there was a surface wiring system above us, maybe a conduit system or maybe PVC cables, how far would they fall into the area? Would they fall far enough into the area that it could cause entanglement for people that were on the ground level? So that's another thing that you've got to take into consideration. Can we have a look at some of these clips? They're all close up.
Look at the clips
The
themselves.
nail on them is substantial.
Yeah, so it does have a substantial nail. So this is a 2.5mm clip here. And the nail's a 2.5mm nail as well, ironically, but that's constant across the range. The good thing about these clips is the only sharp object is the point of the nail. The rest of them are smooth, finger safe, as D-Line say on there. So you're not going to bring in some blood onto the project. And we've got the range there, Gary, starting at 1.5mm, 2.54, and 6mm for twin and earth cables. Twin and CPCs.
Yeah, okay. In this video, I don't care what we call them as long as they stay in position, because too many people have been entangled in wiring systems and obviously perished in the fire, which is completely unacceptable. Hence the regulations have come in and over time adapted, and that's why these metal clips are so important to me personally. It's one of the regulations that's quite dear to my heart. I think we should be taking this ultra seriously in order to support our wiring systems. But as always, we're interested in everyone else's comments. How are you overcoming the problem of surface wiring systems and holding them in place in the event of a fire? We'd love to hear about those. Is there somebody in the comments that are struggling and you can help them with your experience? Please answer them for us. But we will also try and get back to as many of these questions as we can.